Hi there, and thank you for joining me today. Winters in Canada are dreadful. They're long, full of snow, and everything is covered in salt. This here was the bike shed that was impromptu made in about one afternoon with scrap wood from some packaging. As you can see, it stood the test of time, but doesn't have the appeal that I'd like to keep in the yard for years to come. What I'd like to make is a bike shed that could fully open so I could walk inside without having to crouch, shelter all my bikes from the elements, and have a nice, appealing look. But first, we have to take care of the existing shed.
Goal!
The new shed's going to be built of 2x2s and 2x4s. Planning of the shed was simple. All I did was add the width of all three bikes side by side, and then get a vague estimate of how much depth I wanted in order to comfortably seat each of the bikes. The arch on the roof was probably the most difficult to plan, so instead I decided to just eyeball it. Here you can see that I'm implementing the human sawhorse method. While working on this project, I definitely learned that I need a bit more infrastructure in the yard so I can comfortably work on projects without having to improvise around them. The entirety of this project is being done with a power drill and a handsaw. The majority of these joints here are butt joints. Each of the pieces are just stacked straight into each other with no cut joinery. I'm using this pocket hole jig that I bought in order to get each of these flush. If I ever had to make a sturdier structure with this method, I'd definitely get some better wood screws, just so I could get more tension on the pieces and have a more rigid joint.
And now this is gonna stay under a tarp for like an entire week of rain and our bullshit.
I'm adding these metal brackets to the front here so that there's more rigidity at the entrance of the shed. The majority of the body of the shed is constructed with 2x4s, whereas the top and the roof is made of the 2x2s. This is so that it'll stay lightweight and easy to lift, but also so that it can have that more house-like arch. I wanted to make sure I had a arched roof, one, so that when it opens it would have a flat top, giving me more space vertically, and two, so that snow and rain could be pushed off the front and back. The tip point where the roof meets the rest of the frame has a V notch cut into it, so that the roof can easily seat and be centered. This will also give it some added rigidity when it comes to wind from the side or back, all in all making the roof close easier. Up here for the clamshell, I'm using some cheap door hinges that I bought. This will help just keep everything nice and lubricated rather than having any other type of material. This project here is probably one of the biggest items I've ever made, and it's also my first look into joinery. These notches here in the roof are the only joints I've ever really made with woodworking, and I was very happy with how easily they came out. I made sure to stain all the wood, making sure all of it is sealed and protected from the elements.
I've got my radius tool and the lathe. That's a 3-speed phase that I've cleaned up the combustion chamber. They have no valve guide jet, no seats. And the tool right now facing the exhaust port right there, showing I'm actually machining it down to put a thread on there. That head is spinning around a few hundred RPM. Working on the camshafts.
In here you'll see that each of the side walls is framed off. This is less for structural reasons and more for ease of use when it comes to putting our siding in. I want to thank you for your time and staying with me to the end of the video. I hope this has inspired you to make something or experiment with something new. And if it's not too much of a hassle, how about leaving a comment, liking, or subscribing? I'll be back again soon with part 2, where we add the finishing touches to the shed and make this house a home. Wait, how can I say that and then try to convince people that I'm not living in there?